Hey, I watched as much of that Pam Bondy oversight hearing as I possibly could, y'all. My stomach started getting queasy on me, and I couldn't do it anymore. She reminded me of like a high school princess. She was like, I'm a high school princess, and how dare you ask me questions? You can't ask me questions at an oversight hearing like that because I'm a princess. Look at me. And I'm not just a princess. I'm President Trump's personal princess is who I am. And you can't ask me questions like that. In fact, what I think you need to do, you need to give my President Trump an apology. You need to apologize to my dear President Trump. She was saying it so many times, my stomach was getting queasy, y'all. And look, hey, Team Taco, fake ass patriots, I got a question because I'm all confused up about what we're supposed to be doing here. We got on y'all's side, what we did. We was like, you know what? MAGA is absolutely right about this. We need to see them Epstein files. We absolutely do need to see them. And then y'all are moving the goalpost while we're teaming up with y'all. You moved the goalpost on it. Y'all move goalposts like magicians. Y'all are the Chris Angel of moving around the goalpost all the time. And that's what confuses me up, is that right there, things like that. Now, when she was asked about, did you see the pictures there that Michael Wolff saw, that he was shown of Donald F. and Trump there with young girls that were topless, laughing and pointing at a stain on his pants there while he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. Did you see those pictures? And she refused to answer that question. Didn't that make your stomach turn just a little bit there, Team Taco, MAGA? Did that not make your stomach turn a little bit? Here's the thing, is what that was an admission of guilt. You're not going to answer the question. She could have said no, that she didn't see those. She didn't say that. She didn't say it. She was running from that question. She was attacking other people because how dare them ask her questions about her dear president, Donald F. and Trump. That's what she did the entire time. And I was just wondering, how does that make you feel there, Team Taco, about that she's helping cover up the Epstein stuff? And I thought we all wanted to see that, I know y'all are like, well, if there's anything in them files, the Democrats would have released them. You know what? I'm not saying there ain't no Democrats in there. What we're saying is, if there's Democrats in there, we want to know about it, because we don't worship politicians. They're not our gods. They are our employees. That's what they are. They work for us. That's what they do. And so what we want to know is, do we have any employees that was engaged in that kind of stuff, diddling little kids with the Jeffrey Epstein? We want to know that so that we can not only fire them, we can hold them accountable for what they did. That's what we want to do. We want to clean out our business there and get rid of our employees that was engaged in stuff like that. And even if it was the CEO that we hired, I know y'all hired the CEO to our business this time, but even if it was the CEO that we hired, we'd want to know about it. Definitely would, because we'd want to get rid of him too, or her. We want to get rid of them. We want to know this stuff. So we thought that maybe you wanted to be on board with us, clean up the corruption. I mean, you talked about it a lot, getting rid of all the corruption and stuff. Now, if you can look at Pam Bondy cover all this stuff up for Donald F. and Trump and think, hey, no problem, because she's covering up for the guy that we elected, therefore it's okay, there's something wrong with you. There is, see. And Speaker of the House of Gilead, Commander Mike Johnson, you watched him send Congress home, didn't you? You did. And you know why he did it? Because he don't have to swear in that new duly elected Democrat Congresswoman from Arizona, does he? No, he's running from that. He's running from as hard as he can, because that's that one last vote they need to force the release of the Epstein files. And like I said, I thought y'all wanted that. Shouldn't you be mad at Speaker of the House of Gilead, Commander Mike Johnson, and Pam Bondy, right? You should be mad at both of them for covering this thing up, and Donald F. and Trump for covering this thing up, because he did, threaten Congress about releasing this stuff. He told them that's a big no-no, didn't he? So anyway, just wondering there, Team Taco, how am I supposed to feel about this? I thought we was going to be on the same team for a little while and get the Epstein stuff done. And y'all are acting like it ain't existing. We're watching it being covered up. Mike Johnson is scared to death of this stuff coming out, and it could have something to do with them having a $17 million slush fund of hush money, taxpayer dollars, that Republican Congress has there. That could be part of it. It could actually be connected up with some Jeffrey Epsteins that we don't know because we don't have the files. You know what I mean? If we had the files, we would know. So, Anyway, Team Taco, I'm just wondering, how can you watch somebody like Pam Bondy sit there and lie to you like that? Refuse to answer really important questions that everybody wants the answers to, and protect up on Donald F. and Trump the way she does, because y'all said that Joe Biden's Department of Justice was weaponized up. Y'all were saying that. It wasn't. The reason why that Joe Biden's Department of Justice went after Donald F. and Trump, all the criming that he was doing, that was the reason. That was the Department of Justice doing their job, because we was all watching him crime right in front of our faces, and he was criming right in front of your face too, but you didn't believe it because you got the psychoses. And you got the psychoses because you get your news from the news toilet bowl, the Fox Fake Newses and the Newsmaxes and the OANs and those places, garbage toilet bowls, right there were the turds and the yellow stuff, That's what was happening to you. We was watching him crime, and then the Department of Justice was doing their job and going after him for it. Now, what we're watching here is the weaponization of the Department of Justice. That's what it looks like, especially when Krasnov accidentally sends a text message to Pam Bondy on his own Truthless Social that says, hey, you need to start arresting up on people because I'm looking bad right now. I'm looking weak and pathetic because I'm not arresting up on my political enemies. You need to go arrest my political enemies. And then 5 days later, she indicts James Comey. See, that right there is called the weaponization of the Department of Justice. That's what you're watching happen with her and him and that whole regime there right there, okay? So back to the Epstein files. Now, we don't want to get sidetracked here. Don't you still want to see those? Team Taco, you fake ass patriots, don't you still want to see them? I think we do. I think everybody does. Matter of fact, it's something like 78 to 80% of the American people want to see them. Are you in that 20% that don't want to see them no more because you're afraid that your dear leader might be involved in that, or some of those elected Republicans that you put there in Congress might be involved in that? Because if that's the case, it says everything I need to know about you. You're a waste of skin. Now, here's the deal with all that is, like I said, we don't care if Democrats are caught up in it. We need to know if they are. You should care if your Republicans are, but what that tells me is you've never cared about corruption at all. That's never been the thing. What you want to do is monopolize the corruption, okay? You want to hold your political enemies, because now then apparently we're enemies of you because, well, the Fox Fake Newses and the Donald F. and Trumps and the Stephen Millers, the Nazis, convinced you that we were. You want to see all of us held to a higher standard while you monopolize the corruption, right? That's what it is. So you've never been concerned about corruption or the kids, all right? That's all fakery. Anyway, just wanted to let you know that's what it looks like from my standpoint, because if you ain't outraged at what you saw coming from Pam Bondy, there is something definitely wrong with you, all right? Inmate Trump.